Welcome back to the channel. I'd like to continue looking at Black Myth Wukong. And instead of a 30 series card that we've been reviewing the last couple of days, I want to take a minute and look at a 50 series option. Maybe you were one of the 7 that were able to get a 50 series card. Well, it's very difficult to get these cards, and if you've had the opportunity to get one, congratulations. Can you enjoy Black Myth Wukong with a 5080? Yeah, you're going to be able to enjoy your experience. Here are some of the settings that you can run. Looking at the minimum system requirements and the recommended system requirements, if you don't meet these and you've got a 50 series card, stop and upgrade your system. I don't really think I need to go through this with a 50 series, or at least I hope not. You should have a decent system all around it, just to maximize the enjoyable nature of that 50 series card. You know, you paid enough for it, get the most out of it. When looking at the potential systems that we're using to do this GPU testing, we're going to start with the Test Bench V2. That is an i9-14900KF with 32 gigs of memory. The Penthouse system, and you know my naming convention by now if you're following along. And if you haven't, shame on you. Come on, let's get up to speed together. Let's take this journey together. The Penthouse system was an i9-14900K with 32 gig, and I thought, well, then maybe if we had 64 gig like System 3, maybe that's going to help us with our gameplay. So you've got a K with 32, a K with 64, and I moved to the Sim rig, which is a KS with 64, and the Office rig, which is a KS with 96 gig. Do any of these configurations give me better numbers in terms of being the limiting factor and limiting the GPU from really giving us good gameplay? All of these got plugged in with the RTX 5080, and it's a Gigabyte OC Gaming 5080, by the way. And here, as you're well aware of by now, I have an undervolt and a vidlock on all of my systems. I've studied this extensively in terms of that's the final touch. I've got a bunch of coolers that I've tested, a bunch of setups that I wanted to make sure how did I keep these 14th gens cool, and all of that's in my channel if you want to take a peek at that. But today, let's focus on the RTX 5080 and this particular game. Use the game benchmark for analysis, and you want to try to get at least 60 frames a second. Obviously, a lot of people want more than that, and I do. I think you need to at least have 80, but it's at least subjective. But you want to give yourself a buffer for lag, delays. Those things can happen, but this is what I think is acceptable, and it gives you a good starting point. The video that you're watching right now actually is cinematic 4K video with the 5080. So when you're looking at the RTX 5080 at 1080p, you can crank the system settings all the way up to cinematic settings, frame gen on, ray tracing on, max settings. You've got, 128, 130. There's some blips here. I was doing videos. Never mind the mins. You can see that your mins and maxes are pretty good. You're hanging in there at 120, 130. You're not going to have any problem running 1080p. It's excellent. I guess unless you're doing competitive gaming, you wouldn't really probably have frame generation on all the extra features. You would, turn the settings down for the absolute highest frame rate for no delay whatsoever, no chance of delay whatsoever. But that's not really where we are here. We're trying to get the best cinematic experience, but you don't need to stop at 1080. Get on to 1440p, and you crank those up to cinematic, and handles it no problem. Again, you've got average frame rates in the 130s. So you've got cinematic settings, frame gen on, ray tracing on, crank the game to max settings and enjoy it. Really, I mean, I'm a 1440p gamer. That's where I like to, when I do game, it's 1440p. I like these settings. But can you run 4K? With a 5080, you absolutely can run 4K. But, shock, not at max settings. You turn it down to very high settings to make sure that you get your 100 frames per second. You still have it at DLSS quality, frame gen, and I do turn ray tracing off. I'll be honest, there's ray tracing and path tracing, and I don't really see the difference. Just going to say it. I don't see where I really have to have ray tracing on. I don't see where I have to have path tracing on. I've done a lot of these benchmarks with Black Myth Wukong, Monster Hunter Wilds, Cyberpunk 2077. In those particular games, I'm spending a lot of time in their benchmarks. I don't see a big difference in terms of needing ray tracing, path tracing. It's a huge draw to the system. It really is. These cards can handle it, but if I turn ray tracing off, my frame gen on, everything, the settings to very high, I get really good frame rates, and the game looks great. So I think it's very playable, enjoyable with an RTX 5080. Obviously, that's what you would expect, right? You're spending this much money on a card. You expect to be able to play games and have them look really well. It handles max settings at 1080p and 1440p, and even does 4K really well, very high settings, and you have over 90 frames per second. So enjoy it. You probably have the system to handle it. This game is great. Enjoy the game. So there's more to come. I'll be looking at Cyberpunk as well here soon between the 30 series cards and the 5080 that I have. Stay tuned. God bless.